I don't believe in guilty pleasures. A lot of people enjoy watching bad movies. But how bad can they be if they're enjoyable? I believe it is important to question what is considered good taste because what is considered conventional and what is not says everything about what a society values. Too often, what I'm supposed to like does not match with my taste, and it seems ridiculous that I should be ashamed of my taste. Tastes and aesthetics are political, standards of beauty are racialized, and those standards distinguish art that is worthy of praise from art that is worthless. My thesis deals with how racial identities are constructed through debates over authenticity within an identity group. I specifically focus on Black American identity. Disillusioned by the lack of progress since the end of the civil rights movement, blaxploitation filmmakers in the 1970s offered a response to respectability politics through a pimp archetype that indulged in black stereotypes.
Now remember, a pimp is only as good as his product, see? And his product is women. Now you got to go out there and you got to get the best ones you can find. And you got to work them broads like nobody's ever worked them before. And never forget, anybody can control a woman's body, see? But the key is to control her mind. You see, pimping's big business. And it's been going on since the beginning of time. And it's going to continue straight ahead till somebody up there turns out the lights on this small planet. Can you dig it?
Yeah, I can dig it, yeah.
Right on.
The pimp archetype represented both a pessimism towards the possibility of equality for Black Americans and an absurdist attempt at achieving freedom by becoming what everyone else was telling Black Americans they were. This attitude would be taken on by gangster rappers in the 90s, making the pimp archetype so ubiquitous that it became indistinguishable from reality and therefore synonymous with authentic Black masculinity. The 1975 film Dolemite and the 1998 film Belly demonstrate how this archetype evolved over time. Their status as bad films also demonstrates how debates around taste are often entangled with debates over the authenticity of an identity's representation. Belly and Dolemite are underappreciated works of camp that challenge notions of hierarchies of race and art, and therefore what it means to be authentically Black. If nothing else, Belly has one of the most iconic opening sequences in film history. Directed by Hype Williams, one of the most influential video directors of all time, the opening slow-motion sequence combines the tradition of the blaxploitation introduction and the hip-hop music video style that Williams made ubiquitous. This scene by itself has made Belly legendary in Black American popular culture. The scene has everything that made 90s gangster rap so alluring. The flashiness, the aggression, and the sex appeal all come together in the sequence with an effortlessness that could only be achieved by the decade's most iconic hip-hop image maker. While the introduction's quality remains undisputed among hip-hop and film fans, the quality of the rest of the film is often up for debate. YouTube comment sections of Belly reviews or scene uploads demonstrate extremely polarized positions on the movie. Some decry its poor acting and illogical plot, while others hail it as a masterpiece. Those who criticize the film's acting and writing are correct by Hollywood standards. Belly is bad in similar ways to how blaxploitation films are bad. Belly is essentially a feature-length music video. It is more interested in set pieces and image composition than any coherent plot. Belly privileges the filmic image's potential as a canvas for the expression of raw emotions and beauty for its own sake, in the way abstract artists do. So it is no wonder people are so averse to it. Despite its visual mastery, Belly fails at simple things like continuity editing, because Williams was unwilling to give up the more improvised run-and-gun style of music video filmmaking. This improvised style of filmmaking bears some resemblance to that of Dolemite. Although a huge gulf in visual prowess exists between the films due to Williams' experience with music videos, both films were helmed by first-time directors who by Hollywood standards were incompetent. While Belly does not have egregious mistakes like Dolemite, where the boom mic appears in frame in multiple scenes, both films' tendency towards excess and their amateur qualities fit into Susan Sontag's definition of camp. As she puts it in her seminal essay, Notes on Camp, camp is a certain mode of aestheticism. It is one way of seeing the world as an aesthetic phenomenon, not in terms of beauty, but in terms of the degree of artifice, of stylization. Dolemite takes blaxploitation's pimp persona and the genre's love for kung fu to its extreme. Its glaringly amateur technical qualities underscore the film's nonsensical plot and make the viewer constantly aware that they are watching a film. This, along with Dolemite's ostentatious outfits and excessive vulgarity, function as a form of drag that inadvertently serve as a commentary on the artificiality of the black masculinity popularized by blaxploitation films.
Way down in the jungle deep, the lion stepped on the signifying monkey's feet. The monkey said, "Motherfucker, can't you see? You're standing on my goddamn feet." The monkey lived in the jungle in an old oak tree, bullshitting the lion every day in the week. Every day before the sun go down, that lion would kick his ass all through the jungle town. But the monkey got wise and started using his wit. Started saying, "I'm gonna put a stop to this old ass-kicking shit." So he ran up on the lion the very next day. He said, "Oh, Mr. Lion, there's a big bad motherfucker coming your way. And he's somebody that you don't know. He just broke a loose from Ringland Brothers Show. Said he talked about your people in a hell of a way. He talked about your people till my hair turned gray." So, Mr. Lion, you know that ain't right. So whenever you run up on the elephant, I want you to be ready to fight. The lion jumped up in a hell of a rage, like a young man smoking some gauge. He ran up on the elephant talking to the swine. He said, "All right, you big bad motherfucker, it's gonna be your ass or mine." The lion jumped up and made a fancy pass, but the elephant sidestepped him and knocked him dead on his ass. He fucked up his jaw, messed up his face, broke all four legs and knocked his ass out of place. They fought all night and all the next day. Somehow the little lion managed to get away. He drug his ass back to the jungle more dead than alive, just to run into that little monkey and some more of his signifying jive. The little monkey said, "Look here, partner, you don't look so swell. Look like to me you caught a whole lot of hell." Said, "Your eyes is red and your ass is blue." Said, "I knew in the first place it wasn't shit to you." Said, "I told my wife before you left, I shoulda whooped your ass my motherfucking self."
Belly, on the other hand, announces its artificiality in almost every shot through its hyper-stylized lighting, which in turn brings attention to the artificiality of the characters' hypermasculine personas.
Yeah, well, shit is lovely for me, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stop when I'm dead. End of story, man. Got to be a leader, dog. That book is fucking your head up, man.
Yo, when's the last time you read anything, man?
Never, motherfucker. What you need to start thinking about is your motherfucking seed, man. Cause Shorty can't eat no books, dog.
Yo, my shorty's alright, man. The fuck, man? Just need some time to really just figure all this shit out, man. You know what I'm saying? Just chill for a minute.
You wanna go home? Want me to take you home? I'll bring you home if you're scared, man.
Yo, did you not see that fucking red light, man?
Man, you think I give a fuck about a motherfucking red light? Faggot cops can't touch me. I'm out here smoking weed, speeding, all that, dog. Fuck that, that's me.
Dolemite is a film almost entirely driven by its over-the-top central performance, exemplifying Sontag's idea that camp is the glorification of character. This is especially the case in Dolemite, where the plot is nonsensical, making Rudy Ray Moore's performance as the titular character the only consistently engaging part of the film. The action sequences are also incredibly awkward, with more stumbling through lackluster choreography. These shortcomings do not detract from the film, but rather add to its charm. As Sontag argues, what camp does is find the success in certain passionate failures, and Dolemite fails by any of the usual criteria. On the other hand, Belly's campiness is a product of its visual excessiveness rather than over-the-top acting. Belly's privileging of the aesthetic over traditional storytelling invites the popular criticism that it is style over substance. The notion that style is inherently empty is problematic and keeps people from seeing the value of a work like Belly. In Belly, aesthetics are the text. Like all gangster rap music, Belly is contending with the American dream and what it means to Black Americans. The aesthetics of hip hop offer one of the most poignant representations of the American dream, an ideal that suggests that wealth and prosperity can liberate anyone who is ambitious enough. It suggests that salvation can be found in money, sex, and power. Hype Williams reveals the allure of this lifestyle through the imagery of excess that made his music videos iconic. Belly's visual bombardment is the epitome of camp and the epitome of hip hop. As Jacques Babouche puts it in his essay, The Cinema of Camp, camp, by focusing on the outward appearance of role, implies that roles, and in particular, sex roles, are superficial. The superficiality of sex roles is analogous to race. While many Black Americans believe that their role should be one where they learn to work within the established system, hip-hop embodies the opposite. It is purposely offensive in almost any way one could imagine. It leans into negative stereotypes, and it promotes a lifestyle of pure consumerism, highlighting through juxtaposition the systemic impoverishment of Black communities. Hip-hop rejects all traditional notions of Black identity and seeks freedom through individuality. Even as hip-hop has become mainstream, it still maintains an aura of anti-establishment that seeks to offend and push the envelope. It achieves much of this shock value through its camp aesthetics. As Derek Murray puts it in his article, Hip Hop vs. High Art, hip hop's transgressive and revolutionary underpinnings have not been abandoned, but rather recoded within the matrix of capitalist consumption. Hip hop's fictive decadence is asserted as a humorous representation of redistributed wealth and radical social resistance, materialistic braggadocio as a form of resistance to white racism. Hip hop has a nihilistic philosophy that sees the injustice of capitalism and uses camp sensibilities to underscore the hollowness of wealth. The film that most encapsulated the hip hop ethos of the 90s is ironically a film that does not deal directly with blackness, the 1983 film Scarface. Scarface, like Belly and Dolemite, has many camp elements. The film's director, Brian De Palma, is known for his over-the-top films that often toe the line between pastiche and plagiarism of classic films. Scarface is a remake of a 1932 film by the same name, but updated for the hyper-consumerist culture of the 1980s. The film follows Tony Montana, a Cuban immigrant, as he ruthlessly makes it to the top of the Miami cocaine trade. He knows that as an outsider, the only chance he has of succeeding is to be cutthroat. Montana's relentless pursuit of wealth and the film's alluring portrayal of unimaginable riches made Scarface the Bible of gangster rap. The film became so synonymous with hip-hop that the 20th anniversary DVD release of the film included a special feature where famous rappers spoke about their love for the film.
Scarface represented the capitalistic society that we live in, but it also represented that you don't have to conform to society in order to quote-unquote make it.
We all are savages in pursuit of the American dream. Rappers relate to that because that's how we come up.
What made Scarface stand out was its excessiveness in tone and depiction of wealth. Scarface and hip-hop's rags to riches narratives and the lifestyle it promotes are the logical conclusion of the American dream. Chief among Scarface's camp elements is Al Pacino's performance, which rivals Rudy Ray Moore's in its grandiosity, and like hip-hop, the film uses excessiveness to expose double standards. Scarface takes place in the beginning of the Reagan era, which brought America into an age of prosperity that was helping many people move past the national embarrassments of the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal. However, Black Americans were left behind in this, and Reagan set in motion the chain of events that would create the prison industrial complex and the current crisis of mass incarceration. In the mind of Tony Montana and the rappers who see themselves in him, the only difference between them and the Sackler family or the Reagan administration is aesthetics. And if they're not going to be accepted, no matter how much they try to assimilate, they might as well make their outside status a source of pride.
Fucking bankers, the politicians, they're the ones that want to make coke illegal. So they can make the fucking money, and then they get the fucking votes. They're fighting the bad guys. They're the bad guys.
Just look at that damn Watergate scandal. Now, if the leader of our country is stealing and getting away clean, what the hell do they expect us to do?
Better believe it, brother. Right on. Right, brother, right. Yeah, true. Yeah.
And they've got everything going for them, and we've got nothing. Remember, we live here with the rats and roaches, so we don't need no more rats telling us what to do.
Amen.
We'll create our own law.
Films like Belly and Dolemite are often derided as low art because of their failure to live up to normative standards of film. However, the suggestion that they have no value because they do not conform to these standards is problematic. It does not only suggest that there are a finite number of ways that films can be good, it also suggests that some ways of being black are better than others. Viewing these films through the lens of camp is helpful because camp taste turns its back on the good-bad axis of ordinary aesthetic judgment. Camp doesn't reverse things. It doesn't argue that the good is bad and the bad is good. What it does is to offer for art and life a supplementary set of standards. The issue with normative tastes is that they are normative. They privilege their own worldview over all others to the point of suggesting that there is no possibility for a valid alternative. It suggests that every other sensibility is just a deviance from true beauty. It suggests that films like Belly and Dolemite can only be appreciated ironically. However, the power of camp, especially in films that deal with marginalized communities, is that it decentralizes what is considered good. Moore was unafraid to stand out, which opened doors for black entertainers to be freer in how they express themselves, and his legacy lived on in gangster rappers like Nas and DMX, who were unapologetically brash. This overt rejection of social norms is radical in a society where belief in racial difference breeds so much violence and conflict. In her article, The Last Shall Be First, Raquel Gates explores the racialization of low and high taste in art in Western society. In the article, she mentions how black art has often been derided for being unsophisticated in the United States. Gates argues that aesthetics are politicized, and that recognizing that aesthetic choices carry racialized politics requires acknowledging that the very process of filming is a political act. She goes on to say that film and television have created an aesthetic that is designed to beautify and humanize whiteness, while simultaneously masking the process of that beautification and humanization. Similar to how whiteness is rendered invisible socially by hiding the racial hierarchy behind labels of normative and non-normative ways of being and acting, aesthetics in film have also obscured the privileging of whiteness. In the essay, Gates also writes about how Barry Jenkins' 2016 film, Moonlight, has a filmic language that draws inspiration from canonized directors like Wong Kar-wai and Claire Denis, leading it to be quickly ushered in as part of the canon itself, and hailed as a future of black film. Moonlight and Belly have striking visual similarities. They both achieve an immersive dreamlike state through hyper-stylized lighting and slow-motion shots. However, many critics scoff at the comparison. Belly's celebration of a criminal black masculinity was incongruous with the idea of good art. Moonlight's depiction of a vulnerable queer masculinity was much more palatable by comparison. On top of that, since Belly took inspiration directly from the saturated visuals of music videos, it is not seen as worthy of praise. However, Gates argues that erasing a film like Belly from Moonlight's cinematic lineage functions to elide the significant aesthetic work that African American film and media makers have been producing for so long in spaces outside those that are critically prized by the film and television industries. Despite the films being so similar in their sensitive exploration of the violence bred from black masculinity and its devastating consequences, Belly was considered a film that was simply reinforcing stereotypes, while Moonlight was celebrated for its supposedly superior exploration of identity. Anything that is too explicitly black continues to be considered low class. The false dichotomy created between these two films demonstrates how discourse around aesthetics often serves as a proxy for discourse around the authenticity of racial identities. Through Camp, Belly and Dolemite laugh at the cosmic joke of racism and choose to revel in its absurdity, and demonstrate that what makes art valuable goes beyond technical mastery. As scholar Catherine McKittrick wrote, the creative text does not have to be good or artful or aesthetically pleasing or popular. What the creative text is does not matter as much as what it does.